I usually waffle a lot, so I decided because I have to have a pretty good calm control, so I decided I will write down everything I say here. So this way it keeps everything on track and not to waffle, you know. That's why I'm sitting down and I'm reading the lines in here. Okay, normally I walk around and I waffle, you know, but I stopped this. So before I started my presentation, I'd like to thank the Feng Shui Society for inviting me here, and especially the Deputy Chair, right, Sylvia, for making this happen, the organization, and also Jan. He helped me to cut down like 100 slides back to 24, that's all I could have. And I have to give you practical tips. You know, I cannot just waffle, so thank you very much, Jan. Last year, we took about 25 people from about 10 countries on a Feng Shui study tour of China. And we visit many different places with Feng Shui significance, right? As a result, we learn a lot about how Feng Shui is used in these traditional buildings and how we can still use some of these ideas in contemporary design. For this presentation, I'll concentrate on two examples. Right, one is a traditional village, which is done really according to form school. And the other is a residential complex, and it's done with the influence compass school. But because of the time constraint, I will skip the village about using form first, and I go straight to the building in the Shaanxi residential building there, where they use Zhai, their house methods. And if I have time, I come back to the first example. But just to whet the appetite, I just go through these slides. I'm not talking about them, you know. Wonderful places, you know. These are really beautiful places. And, just to get you interested. Okay, I stop here, right? Now, this example I like to talk about, it shows the residential dwellings in the Shaanxi province, and in particular, a very special residential complex called Wang Yuan, or the Wang family mansion, or Wang family residential complex, right? Where the 8 houses, the Baizhai method, is used in the planning and the layout of the houses. Now, in this part of China, the Dai Yoning Go, or the song of the big yearly cycles, right? It's a Bajai, it's 8 house formula to locate the direction of the 8 wandering qi, the Fu Wei, the Shangqi, the Tianyi, the Yuannian, the Jueming, the Wuhai, the Liushan, the Wugui in the house. By the way, how many people here have studied Bajai or 8 houses? Can you put your hand up? Okay, so good, right? So I'm not talking to total strangers. Good, all right. These are 8 wandering qis, are 8 different types of energy. 4 of them are good and 4 of them are not so good, right? Anyway, I just give you a brief introduction into the system first, right? This song of yearly cycle basically is a memory song, so we could actually start with a reference point, right? And then we just go through this song. It's like a multiplication table, and locates 8 wandering qi on the 8 sectors, right? But before I go on, I would like to just, you know, talk about the basics to show how these principles are used to make up the Baizhai system, you know. The Baizhai system is the classical system, so they follow the classical Yili principle, right? A principle of changes. This example has been shown earlier, where the Tai Chi, right, is split up in the Lang Yi, the 2 poles. The Lang Yi is into the Xijang, the 4 forms. The Xijang is in the Bakwa, 8 trigrams. In actual fact, the 8 houses is actually referring to the 8 trigrams. But these 8 trigrams are then related to the 8 directions, right? Now, you need to understand, with Feng Shui, we're using correlative thinking. What we do is we correlate, right, one thing with another. So what happens is that there is 8 trigrams. Then we correlate them to the 8 directions, right? And then we also correlate it to numbers in the Lou Shu diagram. Right? So you have a trigram, a direction, and a number. Right? And in the trigram, there are a lot of correlations, correlation to family relationship, to natural phenomena, to the weather, to the body parts, to the organs. And through correlation, well, we get an idea what's happening in the situation. So the 8 trigram is correlated to the later heaven bagua arrangement, and then it's also correlated to the Lou Shu number. So Qian 6 is located in the northwest, Kan 1 is to the north, Gan 8 is to the northeast, Zhan 3 is to the east, Sun 4 is to the southeast, Li 9 is to the south, Kun 2 is to the southwest, and Du 7 to the west, right? Sorry, I only got a Chinese diagram there. I thought I might manage to get an English one, but I'm not going to find one, so I just used the Chinese. And then directions are then divided into 2 groups, the East 4 group and the West 4 group. And you can see the grouping in red, and with the normal traditional way of laying out the direction, the south up the top, right? So on the left, you have the East 4 directions, and on the right, you have the West 4 directions, right? So the East 4 are the east, southeast, north, and south, and the West 4s are the west, southwest, northwest, and northeast. So you divide them into 2 groups, East 4 and West 4. Now, this groupings actually reflects the traditional Chinese philosophy of the saying where they say the early heaven is the Ti, the principle, and the later heaven is the Yung, the function. So what happened is that normally, right, in flying star system, for instance, they correlate the Lou Shu number to the later heaven bagua. But in this case in here, they correlate the Lou Shu number to the early heaven bagua. So the early heaven bagua is the principle, the later heaven bagua represented by the Lou Shu number is the Yung, the function. And when you ladder these numbers up and you group them together, as I show in the cross here, you will see the hotel pairing, right, of 4, 9, 1, 6, 3, 8, and 2, 7. 3, 8, 2, 7, 4, 8, and 1, 9. Right? So what it represents is 1, 6 is early heaven water, right? And 4, 9 is early heaven metal. Metal generates water. 3, 8 is wood, early heaven wood, and 2, 7 is early heaven fire. So wood, early heaven wood generates fire. So you have a harmonious relationship there, right? And so that's how they group them together into East 4 and West 4. And also the other justification is that Yang facing needs Yin water and Yin facing needs Yang water to make the intercourse of Yin and Yang complete. So you can see, right, the 2 is opposite to 3, 7 is to 8, 6 to 9, and 1 is to 4. So you have the yin yang number, right, opposite each other. So that creates the East 4 and the West 4 grouping. Now, I find this is the most credible explanation because you go back to traditional Yili principle of changes. Other people explain it in terms of relationship, family relationship. They say the mother and father should group with the younger son and younger daughter because they want one grouping. The middle son, the middle daughter, older son and older daughter can form another grouping because they can look after themselves. Now, this is another explanation, but I find this explanation is much more thorough and much more in keeping with traditional philosophy. Right? And that's how the groupings are organized. Also, there's a misunderstanding that this kind of thing is Chinese astrology, but actual fact is nothing like astrology at all, the way we understand astrology in the West. What happened is that the Chinese basically bring the star onto Earth. What they do, they look up, so they see the dipper in the sky, and it changes according to the season. So there's a cycle of changes. And what they want to do is they want to correlate, right, the 8 wandering qis to the 9 stars in the sky. Right? So they bring them down to Earth, and they basically made these correlations, as you can see in this diagram in here. Right? They correlate the 9 stars to the 8 wandering qi and given them an element. This is really man-made, right? In the sense that somebody down the line, right, somebody in the past made these correlations, made these matchings, and they've all been accepted, right? And we work with the system. There's nothing magical about this, right? But in actual fact, the way these wandering qi are organized is actually basically using yao line changes, changing of the yao line. So if you don't change any of the yao line, it's the fu wei, the reference point. Fu wei, it's the beginning, the reference point. Now, it's tricky because later on I'll tell you that 2 different books uses two different reference points. Right? One book uses the sitting direction as a fu wei, another book using the front door as a fu wei. And that creates a bit of a problem for people who study Bajai. Right? Now, so if you don't change any of the yao line, it's fu wei. But if you change all the 3 yao line, it's yuan, longevity. You change only one of the upper yao line, it's Shaanxi. When you change the upper yao line, you change the situation, that's because that becomes Shaanxi. You change the middle and the lower yao line, it's Tianyi. You change the upper and the middle, right, it's the Wu Gui, the 5 ghosts. You change the upper and the lower yao line, it's the Liu Sha, the 6 ghosts, the 6 Sha. You change only the middle yao line, it's Juming, right? And if you only change the lower yao line, right, it's Wohai. So basically that's how it organizes it, right? So the system, right, has 8 directions, 8 wandering qi, right? And every time you get a situation where the house sits in a certain direction, it sets up a diagram, a pattern for the 8 wandering qi. Or every time the front door is located in a certain direction, right, it sets up a certain qi pattern for the 8 wandering qi, right now. The system they use in Shaanxi, right, is the one that uses the front door as a fu wei, okay? And because of the physical requirement, right, now this is where we find it very interesting. The Chinese not only uses the philosophy of Yili principle changes to set up the building so it's ritually correct, protocol correct, Li, Chinese say, manner, right? Traditional manner correct, right? But they are also concerned with the actual environmental factor, how to catch the warm sun, right? So out of these 8 arrangements, the Shaanxi residents only adopt 6 types of street door configuration, right? The first one, 1-8, right, is what they call the Sun door Kanma, the Kanma master with the door opening to the south. Right? So in 1-8, right, the door opens to south, right? So, sorry, not 1-8, sorry, I should say the southeast, right? This typo there. And then the second one is a Sun door Kan master with door open to the southeast. Okay, right. The Sun direction is here, but it can open to the south or open to the east. Okay, 2 situations, but it's still the Sun door, right? Kan master. Okay, now so every time a Sun is of course southeast door, right? Kan master is the north master with door open to the east. That make sense to you? Okay, right. The second example is Li door. Li is north, right? Kan is, Li is south, right? So south door, right? Kan master, Kan is north. So the master, the main bedroom, is located to the north, right? That's number 2. Okay. Number 3. This is number 3 here. Number 3 is the Kun door. Kun is the Kun is the southwest, right? Chen master is the northwest. Okay, right? Now, instead of going through these details, what I'm basically trying to say to you is that all the main bedrooms, the Ju, right, they are sitting on the sunny direction, right? So every time you have an auspicious arrangement, all the rooms also orientated to the sunny direction. Basically, that's how it works, right? And at the same time, the stove, the kitchen, is also located in the auspicious direction. So they are either east for grouping or west for grouping. Basically, that's how it works without going into detail.